Hi, this is Elliot Wavesage. I want to go ahead and just do a quick market update. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education, entertainment purposes only. So the market is acted in a way that's trying to confuse traders and investors. A lot of confusion, and the price action shows it. So we had this, what I would look at here as like a flat correction in a three-wave move. We bounced in three and failed. So now what I would look at is relabeling this as an ABC correction. And as you can see, we're almost in the buy area already. That's how violent of a drop, that reversal that occurred on Friday. So there's, I wouldn't expect too much more downside from here before you can get either a bounce to new highs or another three-wave bounce that could fail. But it's not, it seemed unlikely to just have it crash. And I'll show some individual stocks that just aren't supporting a crash. The dollar index isn't supporting a crash. What I think is happening is there's a game being played between I call it the big traders, the people that move the market, and they use the dollar index to drive their position. As you could see, it totally took a dump here, and as we were falling, we were actually at SPY 453, and we were higher. But then we had this little bit of a spike in the dollar index that caused such a large drop in the indices and reversal. I think the traders or people, market makers, took advantage of that. But I think this is a fake out. This is a bear trap, and this trend will continue, ultimately overwhelming anyone that's bearish, because it's going to be incredibly hard to fight the currency market. The currency market is so huge, and if this is selling off, I don't think there's enough firepower to fight it. So that's what I'm looking at right here. So right now I'm just looking at a 1-2-1-2 setup for a waterfall sell-off in the dollar. When this happens, the market will absolutely be supported like we saw early on. So this is just games, a psychological game being played, and I believe this is a bear trap. It almost seemed like a setup because Fridays normally finish strong. The VIX normally drops. It's just a completely opposite behavior. It's almost like a setup to trap as many people bearish and to create that spring out of this correction. Again, this is kind of looking at the market like poker, not chess. The technical traders looking at it like chess are like, oh, it's the start of a crash. You broke the trend line, so on and so on. But if you actually look, even at some of the technicals, a lot of the oscillators have already bottomed out, and they're already almost oversold. Some are, and then some individual stocks are already in buy areas. So the market, technically, even if you want to play chess with the market, is still showing that it isn't as bearish. But I do believe this is just a setup for people to get on the wrong side, to have something come up to rip it out of here. And I do think there's some events next week like CPI that could do it, but then there's also just other situations like internationally. You could see news in China, supporting their market, which would also do that. So regardless, I think this is where we're going. So the Dow Jones, I believe, has a little bit more downside here in the shorter time frame, and the futures as well. So could see another couple hundred points down from here into this buy area. The SPY has a little bit more downside to 441. Again, in a three-wave move, here's your bounce we got, and then now it's going to correct another three swings down here to 441. The triple Qs are almost still in the buy area here, so technology is going to find support in this area. I don't believe this is a connector. I believe this is part of the same cycle. there. And then the IWM again looks like there's still a chance that this can be done in a flat. I could change the label in, and actually this stayed supported. If it doesn't do that with it, and the rest of the indices do go down, then we're looking for this type of correction, another drop, and we do only have three, so it looks like the Russell should fall. So it looks like some more downsides coming. The technology in IWM, you could still be tricked if you're a bear. It's finished. The SPY and Dow look like more downside, for sure. And then that's how I would look at it. Hang Seng looks like it's also in this 1-2-1-2. Again, two could continue lower. We'll see what happens, this or on Monday or Sunday night. But this, we'll see how this resolves itself. Bitcoin is actually still holding that low, and this low is still a five-way flat low. If this low breaks, it definitely opens up more downside. We'll see if it can hold this 28.6 level. If it can, then the low's in and it's 1-2 and we're ready to come out. If it breaks it, then more than likely this dollar index will have to come up. So I think watch the dollar index to see where Bitcoin may eventually go. But I do think it's in a decision point, and it's really tricky to trade. But if we do lose that 28.6 level, then it could open up a lot of possibilities, because we've been in this connector so long that it could drop us back down much lower than people expect, in an ABC correction and not a flat. It could drop us to 26.9 given the structure. So that's very bearish. So I really would keep an eye on that level, and you really want to see that hold. And then oil continued higher, like was expected in wave 5, but this wave 5 should be ending very soon, for another pullback in 4, which can go all the way back to 78 or even a little lower. If you look at the degree it's matched up with, you can see this. So this 4 could take quite a while of consolidation. So that's coming soon in the oil market. Gold hit the buy area and wicked out of it, so gold probably is finished and going higher. This is probably a sign the dollar index is going to get weaker. And then silver is doing the same thing. It's in the buy area again, and it's coming out. So these look kind of bullish right now. And then the 2-year really took a dump here. Looks like it's starting its wave 3 moment, down like I have here. And then the 10-year looks like that is set in B, and it should be heading lower. This should support the markets if this happens, and then we get the next wave higher. When this wave comes, that will probably be the crash wave in the indices. It manifesting itself as we go to unthinkable heights in rates. And again, it will depend on how deep this 2 goes, ultimately to decide how high the 3 will end up. But this turn was predicted. I think we'll continue to see this play out, supporting the markets. And then when this is finished, then I believe it's time to maybe be a little more bearish, everything. And then the dollar index, the same thing. Like I said, it turned exactly where we want it. And again, on this fall, the correction started to really accelerate higher and stop. But just that little spike caused a massive sell-off in the indices on Friday, which I think was overdone, and I believe is a trap. Is a trap. Based on the dollar index isn't going to support a crash in the indices at the moment. We'd have to come back and take out 102.8 before I would start to get concerned. Before in really this channel, I would be worried. Then if we could take that out, then that would change things and be more bearish. But right now, the dollar index should give confidence to the fact that the market won't, will still have support as this plays out more. As this plays out more. Okay, and then at some point we'll be down here, which will be time to get very bearish again. The VIX did break out of its wedge I showed, and I said that was an opportunity for bears to do that. And then we did push higher with a higher high here on the VIX. So you could look at that and chart that as a connector for one more follow through higher. So I would not be surprised, and again the indices show this, for one more flush lower at the indice level, but some individual stocks just aren't going to support that, in my opinion. But I do think at the indice level, you could see another move in the VIX up to even 20 to finish this cycle, and then we get a reversal out. So as you can see, we're forming on the VIX potentially a massive left shoulder. We could form this head, finish the correction, and then as we form this right shoulder going into October, then I believe this will give the indices a lift and allow everything to reach areas where you can then be set up to come out of that and to use your imagination how high, which is will bring the market down. So I do think we'll have a left, a right shoulder, and then we will fade, and that will support the market. So I do think you could see VIX come up to 20, but I believe there will be a lot of resistance here, and this will probably ultimately end the correction, and this will be the feast on fear moment. If the VIX can get here to the 20 area, then I think that would be an opportunity to really do some shopping in the marketplace. So I would just keep an eye on that. So the VIX does support more downside at the indice level, but when we get into this area for the VIX, I would be very, I would definitely be looking to buy some things. So just keep that in mind. We're looking for that kind of pattern, and then of course, here we should get some kind of pullback and out. This is the ideal setup. We'll see if we get that in the VIX this week coming up, and then we can get this right shoulder formed in the next month, till mid to end September, and then come out, and then like I said, use your imagination how high we can go from there. But that's how I look at the VIX right now, something like that. So we can get rid of this wedge. The wedge is over. So now the new pattern to keep an eye on is this reversal pattern. But I do think, as you can see, you had some resistance here. I believe you will find a reversal and resistance here again if we can get to this point. So just keep that in mind. Somewhere in this area is probably where this sell-off ends that we're in. Okay, so that's the market update, what to expect. So more downside. I don't think it's a super crash. I believe it's a buyable dip. It's yet to be seen if it's a 2-wave or a 4 and a 5 and a crash, or a 2, and then we play out some more sequences. I'm not worried about that at the moment, but I do think more downside is coming in the market, and then we'll reverse out of this situation. So then I'll just kind of click some stocks on the technology side. Let's go to Apple. Was kind of a big a moment for Apple, but I look at Apple as just a 4-wave in a flat correction in an A, B, C. But as you can see, we're missing 4 and 5, so it could still go a little bit lower. But I wouldn't get too bearish on Apple because it's still in this 4-wave here. So I believe we need to see a bounce and then a failure, and then it should hit 5 and come out of this, and then when this is finished, then we could get a much bigger pullback, to correct this whole thing. Let's look at Microsoft. So Microsoft's the same thing. It's got here you have a 3-wave connector. It actually hit this area, and it's finding buyers. So Microsoft could be in 5. So this would not support a market crash. Microsoft going to 5 will not support a market crash. Where's Tesla at? Tesla is a little more bearish. It's got an A and a B, and now it's in a 1-2-1-2. It should be dropping. It could drop as low as 227. So that definitely will hurt the market. So that one I don't like it. Google should have a 5 and 5 here in a 1-2-3-4-5. So Google has some more upside, and then it should retrace, and it could come back down to 115. So Google that's what Google looks like. Now, could the 5 be in here? It's possible, but not likely. And then let's take a look at Facebook. Facebook looks like its 5 is finished, or it's in it's in 2 of 5. And Amazon looks like, to me, again, it looks like in a 1-2-3-4, and now it's in a 3 of 5, or even a 4 of 5. So it's clear to say the bottom's in Amazon, that it's not corrective anymore, right? So the market is still going to be bullish in a longer time frame. So now you have 5, and it's probably in something like this, and then that should pull back. And again, it could continue to extend. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. So if that 4-hour can erase the divergence, then of course it would extend and negate this 5th wave that I have here. But for now, we'll just leave it this way. But as you can see, it's ending this impulse and should retrace at some point back to 126. Okay, I was keeping my eye on Shopify. It had a big sell-off on earnings. It looks like, to me, it completed 5 waves up. It's in 3, and now it's in a buy area here. And so I wouldn't get too bearish. Now, it could still bounce and then fail later, which is probably what would happen, to go to the low 50s. But this is due for a bounce at least here after this move up. So that's another thing. Wayfair had a good reaction to earnings, and this is in a 5th wave that should be ending, and then should pull back. So you can see that Etsy had to get rid of it, stopped out here. I don't recommend it anymore. This could now resume its bearish structure, and this could be a massive connector, and that could take prices to Etsy to 47. I don't like it anymore. The setup is it's lost right now with breaking that 81.90, but once we break 80.47, I think that's it. I think it's likely that it will break it and then negate the setup, and then this is just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's how I would look at that. And then just checking out other things out there. Let's take a look at, like, Robinhood is in a 1-2-1-2 like this. Palantir, a lot of people are interested. Looks like to me a 1, 2, 3, 4. Need one more for 5. So if you notice in a lot of charts I showed you, we need this last push in 5. So that should bring the markets up, right? That's going to keep the markets higher. And then if it somehow erases divergence, the market would extend. So we don't know, but I think you get this 5th wave, and then it can give all the way back to, like, for Palantir, back down to 13 at some point. But it looks like to me something like this is coming for Palantir here, something like that. And just kind of like I said, just looking around technology, this is what I'm seeing at the moment, and I think that's all I want to show there. And let's see, discretionary Crocs should get down to this area, looking for that. And let's see here, looking at Wingstop, again, missed my buy area by about 10 cents, but it was close enough. If you had it V-bottom, it blasted out, and now I believe it's in this 2 wave. It could come back and retest that low. We'll see, and hopefully it can come out of this. That's what we're looking for. And then consumer staples. Let's take a look at Costco. How's Costco doing right now? And yeah, looks to me again like you have a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. So we should be pulling back in a 4. So once this low breaks at 550, that could set up an opportunity to go long at Costco at 541 to 529. Okay, so then crypto. People always love crypto. So LTCN. This is an extreme area low here in 3 swings down to 440. How's Coinbase? Coinbase just found resistance here, and it's going to form out this right shoulder. So I believe it's going to reverse out kind of like that. I know some people are in this. This looks like it's going to find buyers in this area. It's starting to try to figure out, what it wants to do. It tried to dump out of the wedge. It got bought back up real quick. Now it's trying to come out of it. So I think again, traders are very confused on how to handle BCHG at the moment. I'm not really too concerned about it. Mara looks like it's about to make that push down in 4, down to 1478. Riot, the same thing. Looks like it's making its push down to 1545. These areas should produce bounces. I haven't looked at MicroStrategy yet, but it looks like that 4 should be coming to an end at any moment. Okay, and then just kind of looking at some health. Let's look at healthcare. Let's take a look. Yeah, Tandem. Trying to find buyers to move up to this area before lower. We'll see if that can continue. Beck and Dickinson, we did have that breakout, so any dip is a buy, should be a buy. Yeah, healthcare was kind of weak. If you're trading QSI, if you look here, we're still in this 5th wave. You could say it's finished here. This 5th wave got finished here and will pull back. It should stay supported around 290 in this area. If that's the case, if not, it can continue higher to 440 and then back down back to 294, something like this. So it's tough chart to trade here, but that's kind of my thinking on it. And VAX, we're seeing that push lower, like I talked about. Here could be the opportunity in Y here to kind of come back down into this area that I have for 2. mRNA looks like it did break finally this massive 1 2 1 2 1 2 and so many 1 2s. I mean, so it's gonna definitely have a waterfall moment. It's already starting that journey down 1 2, so we're probably finishing this 3 wave soon as we make our journey down to $82. And mRNA, if you followed me, we called this peak exactly right, this reversal, as a short entry. Someone asked me this. We called this pattern perfectly, and it's just been beautiful. And I do believe right around here you could get a sizable rally, or maybe a multi-year low in wave 2 at 84. We'll have to keep an eye on that as it takes its dump, but it is now broken structure. This structure is broken bearish, so it's kind of like short at will. This is going to be pops are got to be short it. So this is a good short stock to short until we get down to these areas. So this is a massive breakdown here. Just want to point that out. All right, let's take a look in these lists. How is, let's see, Shake Shack was rising today. I don't have an updated chart on that, so I'll skip over that. BJ's, don't have, yeah, that one I would stay away from. We're below the secular trend line. How's Starbucks doing? Starbucks looks like it hit a 5 wave and it's in a 1-2-1-2 setup. So it's coming off of its correction here at 2, going into a wave 3. Celsius. I still hear people like dying to short it. I believe this too could be finished here. I mentioned this on my video that it could be done. Here's your wave 4 cluster. So if you're bearish Celsius, it's your own risk because it can go stupid high before it goes back down to earth. So be really careful being too bearish in it as long as this low holds. And again, now you have a connector wave, so if the low doesn't hold, then it brings you down to 124, 118, 110, which would be a really good opportunity for investment. This would be a much better entry if that could happen. So don't know. Looks like earnings is key. Earnings will be essential to determine the path. If we dump in the earnings, I will be a buyer again. And like I said, I gave the trade alert for Celsius here and here on my Twitter and wrote it up to, I believe, this area, 145, dumped it. And now I'd like to get back in on the trade for the next swing. So if we can get it down here, I would be re-entering my positions that I had in it. So that's what I'm looking to do personally, but you guys got to do what's best for you. I do believe, though, it's if it does take this dump on earnings, this will be fill the gap. That would be a great opportunity to go long again, and I would take that opportunity here to do that. So that's something I want to keep my eye on for sure. Okay, so anyway, let's go to just a few more things and see LEU. We gave this in my live stream a 3F3 breakout alert, and we got that, and so now it should go to 50 or even higher. And I don't like snow. I showed you Crocs already. I don't like any of these others. How about Wolf? Wolf, if we could get to 56, that's a great opportunity, and Wolf Semiconductor at 56.93. And Palo Alto, it could have met a grand supercycle peak. So this could be a very dangerous stock to go long. It could still be in 5 though. I'll just keep it in mind in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if the grand supercycle peak is in, it could come back down to 129. And then your requested stocks, I try to keep those a list of those, and let's just see out of the ones you guys requested. Let's see, TCAT and some of these. Looks like this Puma Biotechnology is coming out of the 2 and coming out of that 2 wave in a 1-2, and nothing else here that I would stands out. And then on the downside, let's take a look. Mullen, I won't even click on that. Carvana, looks like we're in a 1, 2, 3. We're in this 4 wave. If four could come down, here's a buy entry here at 35.50, 31 in this area to play that wave 5. There's a chance the wave 5 is already in progress, so we just don't know. A lot of people were asking about GoPro. I didn't have the correction labeled. I went ahead and labeled the correction, so I believe we have one more impulse down. So I do think it looks like to me more downside. We should get a bounce and one more failure of that to finish this impulse. That should end the correction in this area. And this is kind of how I would label it. but you're really trading against this low at $2. So it can, and you're still within this wedge. So, I mean, it could just trade within the wedge until some news comes out to get it out of it. But I don't like selling it. SYM was another one that had a 1-2 setup. And looking at it here, you have 3 waves down. 5230 was the 3-wave area. So this is the first area. Now the second, it's finding buyers here. It could still drop more, which is another opportunity to buy. But I think it's trying to find support here. Match. So we called that 2 and lower in match. This is one that got destroyed. I was looking at this TG Therapeutics. It looks like to me you had an impulse with 3 waves, a connector, and then now it's in an area where buyers will be stepping in. Believe it or not, somewhere in this area. And since it's 5 up, it should take another impulse out of this. It's hard, and I don't know fundamentally what's going on with it, but do what's best for you. This could be a very high risk, high reward setup here in this area to play. $8-9. If it could get down here all the way back up to 50 in another year. So this is another one to keep an eye on. So do what's best for you, but it's an opportunity here in this stock after this run up. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the session. Thanks again, and like I said, I would expect more downside, but then I wouldn't get too bearish given where the dollar index is and where some of the individual stocks are, like Microsoft, like Shopify. Oh, and there's one more I want to show you, like the ARK complex. If I was looking at the ARK stocks, and what was interesting is ARK G is in a buy area on a 3-wave move. Genomic. ARK K is also in a buy area and a 3-wave move. So you really can't get bearish this market, if these are supported. Now, if we fall below 42, then that changes everything, right? But we haven't. So my thinking is, and looking at what's happening here and what's happening here, higher highs, a reversal out of a massive consolidation, the market's really set up for more upside than downside. So that's why I think when I say, the market should go lower, I wouldn't short it though. I would just stay on the sidelines, have a shopping list, and buy things if you get that sell-off. But don't be shocked if we don't get a sell-off. And Friday was a massive trick. Don't be shocked. So that's why I'm not shorting. I don't think that's the right side to be on the market at the moment. I think that day will come, but not yet. I think it's not time given what I see. I think it's still buy the dip market. But you guys got to do what's best for you. And I know there's a lot of people saying crash and buy puts and all that, but I think the better trade is to go long things that have sold off or ready to bounce. This China, keeps bouncing and finding support. I'm looking for that separation out, and that should be the dollar dropping, and then the markets rallying higher. Even emerging markets should be supported when this happens. Like Neo still shows you there's more upside in the market. So there's a lot of stocks that are just saying we're not ready to crash yet. They're not finished. They haven't broke down in their grand super cycle or cycle degree. They're just in 4s and 5s. All right, that's all I've got.